the Britannia Challenge Cup. This is Club Men's Fours, first on the water. London Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and Thames Rowing Club on the Buck station. You can see London Rowing Club waiting patiently. Adrian Cassidy alongside me. What a great day this will be.
Morning, Tim. Yeah, great. It's going to be a fantastic day's racing. The weather seems to have done us a bit of favour. We can see the paddle boarders over here as they come past. First race of the day, so they've made the final. This is what they've been training to do, and these two clubs will be going at it hammer and tongs. Having looked at the racing so far this week, neither of them had a really hard test yet.
Just before we start, what an achievement from every athlete who gets on this start line today. Regardless of what happens in the next few minutes for them and a few hours for the other events, it's a great achievement to get here, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, the hours the guys put in to train to get to this, they're training 10 times a week whilst having jobs, and because these are club athletes. And yeah, it's an awesome experience for these athletes. And the devastation one of these crews will feel in about 8 minutes' time is terrible.
And they will remember it for the rest of their life.
They will,
successful or otherwise.
Correct, they will indeed. So one of the interesting thing here in the Thames Rowing Club crew, the bow seat here with the red cap on the right hand side of the white bit, is Max Gillard, and he's in the final today, and his dad won this event 30 years ago. So that's an amazing parallel.
Lovely bit of symmetry, joining up the generations. So these conditions, it's quiet, it's still, certainly down at Temple Island at the moment, compared to the last few days. We've had everything thrown at the athletes on the water in the last few days. It's a bit of luck as to the draw and what you've had to face conditions-wise. You had a horrific rain last night, and at other times you've had a very strong crosswind. I think it's a light cross headwind today as the official going.
Yeah, it is, and you look down the course, it does look like really optimal racing conditions, so it's good to the final to have these great conditions.
And start you like this. Attention, go. Get ready, please.
So the pressure building now. This is it, the big moment in the Britannia, the final. London Rowing Club A against Thames Rowing Club to the right of your picture.
Attention.
Finals Day 2022 now underway with the first of 26 of Britannia, and this all-important start, and immediately you're seeing on the Buck station, the right-hand side, Thames Rowing Club battling to keep close to the island, which suggests there is a bit of a breeze across the water.
These are two supremely well-drilled crews. Here's Stuart Heap's taken over London Rowing Club this year and has already made a huge impact both on the men's and the women's side, and it's good to see this crew how well they're rowing.
By the very fact that they've got to finals day, they're all going to be classy on the water today, and you'd expect good clean starts from all the boats, and that's what we've got in this particular one. Just having a look, Thames Rowing Club being encouraged to get back onto their side of the water. They have taken a lead though, so they'll be absolutely satisfied in the early stages. Powerful explosive start off the pontoon, and they've taken a lead. London Rowing Club, see there the data, 38 strokes a minute. That's a pretty lively start to this race.
It is, and they're keeping it quite high, and you can see there on the speed that the Thames crew here are moving away. And it's going to be interesting now that it looks like Thames there have found their rhythm, and they're into something that resembles their cruising speed, whereas the left hand side there, maybe London Rowing Club is still on top of it a bit harder, but that's a great transition. You hear the blade work from Thames Rowing Club.
Yeah, good. The technical skills of Thames Rowing Club showing through there with a slower stroke rate, a reduced stroke rate, but shifting the boat quicker. So energy-wise, they might have a bit more in the tank in a couple of minutes' time.
And I think that point about energy-wise is really important. We've seen a few times this week of crews going out well, rowing well, but actually maybe overcooking it and then getting rowed through later on in the race. So we'll only really find out as this unfolds who's worked too hard or who's been efficient so far.
So this is London Rowing Club. Both these boats had their semi-finals on Friday evening, and London Rowing Club, who we can see here, beat Hinksey by 2 lengths on Friday evening, which seems quite a long time ago. They've had a day off to freshen up, like Thames Rowing Club, who beat Vesta in their semi-final by 1.5 lengths.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting thing, is that now they knew they made the final on Friday, did a whole day. They would have gone rowing on the Saturday just to keep being busy, but the mental side on that day off, trying not to think about it too much, trying not to be wasting any nervous energy, who manage themselves well on Saturday will have an impact on today as well.
It's a discipline, isn't it, that's required, and everyone imagines discipline-wise is when you're in the gym and putting in the hard yards, but actually on a long regatta like this, here at Thames Rowing Club again being spoken to by the umpire. I don't think they'll be too anxious though, will they? They'll most of all be looking at that lead that they've crafted and think, well, we're going all right here.
Yeah,
it's a good start.
And even from that data there, we can see that it still seems to be moving a bit quicker, but Thames getting warned once again by the umpire to get across. But the Cox 4 is a boat where you can actually change the boat speed quite a lot, so depending on how much London Rowing Club have got in the tank, but they need to do something quite soon really, where they're probably halfway down the course now.
Yeah, Thames being spoken to again, the umpire not taking any nonsense from them, encouraging them to stay on their side of the water. The stats point to a really tight race. If you look at the semi-finals, they got to a barrier 2:05 and 2:06 in their respective semi-finals. They got to falling in 3:31 and 3:32 in their semi-finals, and there was only a couple of seconds in terms of time difference when they got over the finish line, so that points to a really tight race here. But at the moment, Thames, despite being spoken to by the umpire a couple of times for some steering issues, have fought out a good lead. Adrian.
Yeah, and there's a bit of discrepancy coming on the blade work in the Thames crew, and I think it's interesting you saying those times they were equal at the first two markers. Obviously today they're not equal at the first two markers, so what's happened is somebody not got it quite right, or has somebody gone a bit too hard? And I guess as the race progresses we'll find out.
Yeah, only time will tell. Last year,
there we go,
German boat
and the
beating
Thames boat
Hingsey.
is back on top of it again, and maybe they're going to start moving again.
Another surge being put in here. This is the Britannia finals day of Henley Royal Regatta. You can hear already 11 o'clock in the morning, big crowds assembling to watch this one. Thames Rowing Club getting some good support there, and they've got more than a length up.
Yeah, moving well here, aren't they now again? There was a bit of a stall there as the London Rowing Club crew seemed to come back on turns, but actually once they sorted their steering out over here on the Thames Rowing Club crew, good job.
Pat Hanratty in the stroke seat, Thames Rowing Club. Max Robinson in 3 seat, Ben Campbell-Reid and Max Gillard in the bow seat. You can see there Pat Hanratty looking pretty relaxed and calm considering the stage of the week we're at.
Yeah, Pat has a YouTube channel that he runs. He talked about his journey through Thames Rowing Club. It's amazing to see him here now in the final of the Britannia Challenge Cup.
Putting together a good race in that stroke seat, Pat Hanratty and his Thames boat. And this is the point in the race that they'll look back on with great fondness if they can hold on, because you've got the big crowds there. They'll be cheered to the finish. You can see the Cox there for the Thames boat, Zoe Evans. Very different perspective on the race, just clear water. She'll be glancing over her left shoulder, no doubt, trying to work out how much of a lead they've got.
So, and even in this position here, Thames Rowing Club, they can't enjoy winning this race at this point. They know they're still under pressure and they need to execute what they've been rehearsing all year. And here, as we come up to the mile on the 8th post, you can see on the left-hand side, about 2 lengths lead for Thames Rowing Club.
And under this sort of pressure, anything can happen in the final few hundred metres. So they need to keep concentrating. That's Max Gillard, you can see there.
So it looks like he's going to win the Brit 30 years after his father. That's pretty cool.
Certainly is. Can't write those scripts, can you, for that family? So Zoe Evans will be keeping a close eye on things in front of the regatta enclosure, moving in front of Stewards enclosure, and Thames Rowing Club know that the job, well, it's not done yet, because we're looking at London Rowing Club fighting all the way, and actually they've put in a bit of a surge here, and they have made sure that this stays really competitive. One mistake now and the whole thing could come off the track for Thames Rowing Club, but they look like they're going to stay composed into the last dozen or so strokes, and in Stewards they're being roared home. The Thames Rowing Club, the Britannia Challenge Cup is going to go their way. Last few strokes, London Rowing Club fighting all the way. But the final of the Britannia Challenge Cup, the win on the Buck Station. Over they go now, Thames Rowing Club. Congratulations to them. Hanratty, Robinson, Campbell, Reid and Gillard. Celebrations. Zoe Evans, the Cox, steering them home against London Rowing Club. And there, the jubilation of winning a final at Henley Royal Regatta.
Pat, what does it mean to be winners here at Henley? I can't quite believe it. The most special thing is doing it with this particular crew, because they're the toughest crew out there, toughest crew going. The bond all the way through the prep was amazing, and I couldn't ask for a better group to have done it with.
What's the preparation been like coming into today and the sacrifices you've made?
It's so hard. We have to give up so much. Say no to so many social things. It's hard work, training, around full-time jobs as well. You just like having another job on top of it. So it means so much to win.
And it all went smoothly, the race, from your point of view?
I think as well as it could have gone. London were quick in the way. They really gave us a race, an incredible race from them. But we executed our plan and it went so well. Couldn't have asked for more.
And finally, Max, your dad won this event 30 years ago, so nice to sort of emulate him as well.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, he's I've really looked up to him since I started rowing, and to sort of win the same event he won 30 years ago is it's amazing for me. Absolutely amazing.
Well done, guys. Enjoy the celebrations. Thank you.